I think the second biggest story of the day, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, was Kentucky struggling at home with St. Joe's. I think Kentucky was the team that all of us left the Champions Classic being the most impressed by. And their next game out, the defense wasn't quite there. Reed Shepard made me look kind of dumb for touting him as being like the guy that you got to start over DJ Wagner Goodman. I know that you're all in on the Wildcats now. I know that John Calipari is now your favorite college basketball coach in America. What do you make of Kentucky's struggles tonight?
They're young, and St. Joe's has a bunch of guards that can beat you off the bounce. And Eric Reynolds is a friggin' star. He was the best player in the court tonight for most of the game. Now, DJ Wagner did a hell of a job on him in the second half for stretches. But I thought when it mattered most, Trey Mitchell was the one who provided the win here. You know, he got a huge putback at the end of regulation. And then really, to be honest, they probably lose if St. Joe's big guy makes both free throws with about 15 seconds left. They're down one. He makes one of two. They go to overtime. And right out of the gates, Trey Mitchell hits two threes from straight away. And that was pretty much it. I mean, St. Joe's came back and made it a game. But listen, they're going to be up and down. They're young. They're young. And you know, it can be shown by one guy, Rob, Reed Shepard. That look at what he did last game and what he did this game. He was unbelievable last game. I forget what his stat line was, but he was like
25.7 assists.
Yeah, like he didn't miss. He didn't miss. He didn't make a mistake, right? Today, you know how many shots he took? One. One shot. One shot in 25 minutes. He had 4 assists. He wasn't awful out there. He just wasn't really out there making a huge impact for a lot of the game. So I think this Kentucky team still has a long way to go. But here's the one thing I will say, Rob. The biggest takeaway I'm getting from this Kentucky team, they make shots from the perimeter. They have multiple guys. Trey Mitchell has shown me he can make shots from the perimeter. Reeves is inconsistent. He can make them. Dillingham can make them. He can get downhill, get to the basket whenever the hell he wants. The biggest question I'm going to have is, like, what do they do when they get some of these bigs back? How do they figure this thing out rotation-wise?
Yeah, so here's my thing with this specific game, right? There was game pressure on them. They blew leads. St. Joe's made a comeback. They hit a bunch of threes down the stretch. Like, Kentucky probably, I don't want to say should have, but they could have lost this game very easily in regulation, and they didn't. They made the plays that they had to make down the stretch, and that's not something that you always see out of a young team, having that level of composure in a game where you tried to give it away. John, I don't think that I've actually heard your overall opinion on this Kentucky team and what you make of them this year. How good are they? What do you like about the guards? What do you like about this team? What's your overall take on Kentucky in 2023?
You know, I love the guard play. They're young, they're dynamic, and you know they looked really good against Kansas. But you know, trusting young guys on a Tuesday night, which is a Monday night, on a Monday night against St. Joe's, because we have Kentucky on our chest. Hey, look, we're going to just come in here and win. That doesn't work. You got to remember who you are. You're Kentucky, right? You're at Rupp. This is a team, a St. Joe's team that's good, that's mature. And if you look across the board with the stats tonight, I mean, everything was pretty much even. I think the only difference in the game was St. Joe's had 8 more offensive rebounds. We gave them 8 more possessions, and that's where the game kind of went kind of even with Kentucky, and they was battling back and forth winning overtime. So this is probably a good learning experience for them. Glad they didn't lose. And they probably learned a lot from this because, like you said, Rob, you know, they battled back. St. Joe's got hot. They went to overtime. They finished them out. We won't be talking about this in 2 weeks because they won the game. But this Kentucky team, kind of shades of last year. Are they going to pick it up like they did last year and kind of become a force, or are they going to kind of fade out? I don't know yet, man. The guards,
I think
the guard
they're going to
plays
be
there.
inconsistent. Henson,
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to be inconsistent this year because of their youth.
Yeah.
And you know, they got 2 veterans in Trey Mitchell and Antonio Reeves, but they've never played this type of role for the team either. They've never had to provide leadership. They've been trying to figure themselves out for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've got to be reliable and consistent. Trey Mitchell's been pretty darn good. Reeves has been a little up and down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know
I
who I
mean,
think they are, and I've made this comparison in the preseason, John. It's the program from last year that you're not allowed to name. I see a lot of resemblance to last year's Duke team. Remember earlier in the year, like Duke took a couple bad L's out in the PK 85. They didn't look great against some of the mid major opponents that they played, and Shire kind of had to like go to different lineups with Derek Lively coming off the bench and Derek Whitehead coming off the bench. And I think we're kind of it's different in that Duke team was defense and they had to figure out how to score, and this Kentucky's team is offense and they got to figure out how to get stops. But it's a young team where they don't have it all figured out now, John. But the talent is there where if it does come together, like you can see what their ceiling is in spurts, right?
definitely see their ceiling, and they got those big guys coming back. It's going to be interesting to see how they come into the fold because I kind of like the lineup right now, but obviously they've got to play, the high level guys. So it's going to be interesting to see what Cal does. Cal doesn't come off as feeling, bad about anything. He's probably
How
going to,
John,
if
how
it doesn't
hard is
work,
that? How hard is that to bring back guys that like look, Aaron Bradshaw, 5-star guy, is gonna have a certain
yep.
expectation for the minutes and the shots that he gets. When you already have that like established rotation, how hard is it to bring a guy like that in?
You don't necessarily know in practice what's going on, right? Because he could be looking like the next Carl Anthony Towns out there, right? And everybody's going to fall in line. So we don't know what he looks like behind the scenes, but he's got to play. And for him, he better do something and be effective fast, or he's not going to play. I don't think Coach Kyle is shy about that. I think we know he's there to win. He hasn't had a great stretch of years as of late, so I wouldn't call it a hot seat, but he's in a pressure cooker right now to win games, and I think that's going to take precedence over anything.
Mm-hmm. All right,
I
Goodman. Let's
love
move.
Bradshaw.
Hmm?
Rob, I
Go ahead.
love Bradshaw, but I don't know what you do. And again, we don't know if he's going to come back, when he's going to come back, and again, how effective he's going to be because you're talking about a freshman who's missed most of the preseason. So, what do you do if you're Cal? Are you almost like, hey, I don't need Big Z even eligible if I can get one or two of those other bigs back? Because the worst case might be having all three of them, because then you're talking about maybe two of them not playing because they need one rim protector. That's really what they
Yeah.
need for this team as much as anything. A rim running, rim protecting big who doesn't really need the basketball because there's a lot of mouths to feed
That's
on
Big
that team.
Z, man. That's Big Z more than those other guys because he is the
He's not
biggest of
eligible
them.
though. Right.
Oh, I
But he's
know.
not
But I'm
even
saying
eligible.
like if that happens, if it happens, and we don't know if it's going to end up being, but he is like to me, he's the guy that fits that mold the most.